An affordable national child care program is something several political parties have promised, but we've never quite got there. A new report from the Margaret and Wallace McCain Family Foundation calls for a major investment from the feds to the tune of about $20 billion. And with us now to explain what they found and what they're recommending, child advocate, philanthropist, and the former Lieutenant Governor of New Brunswick, Margaret McCain joins us now. It's so good to have you in that chair again.
It's good to be here.
Pleasure to see you. Let's talk about the significance of early childhood education in as much as the influence it can have on a child from 0 to the time they hit 3. What do we know?
Could I start by saying I'd like to correct the introduction, which
Sure.
said affordable child care, because we want to elevate child care into public education. So this is about educational care as part of our public school system, public education system.
As opposed to sort of babysitting the kids before and after school.
You got it.
Big difference. So integrated into our public educated system.
Right.
Okay, understood.
So why is this important? The science is really strong, irrefutable. Over the past 25, 30 years, it has increased every single year that the first 2,000 days of life are the most critical in human development. And in these days, 2,000 days, life trajectories are laid for learning, for health, and for behavior. These are critical. I've been asked, is this more important than secondary and post-secondary education? Not more important, as important, because this is where the foundation of the house is built, and you can't put the walls and the roof on until you have a very strong foundation. And this is where we have lacked investment.
Is it literally the case that if you don't get those first 3 years right, I mean, it's possible you may never catch up?
It is possible, yes. Now, I can happily say that 75% of children are with parents who do get it right, and they'll make sure they get it right. But that's not good enough. We can't lose a quarter of our future population, or perhaps even more, if we don't get it right. If we don't, in this knowledge-based economy, we have to get it right.
I know you're not a neurosurgeon or a neuroscientist, but having said that, you know a bunch of them, and you have looked at this plenty. What's going on in terms of brain development in those first 3 years that makes this so critical a time of someone's life?
Well, I'm not going to go into the anatomy because that's not my area of expertise, and I don't tread there. I will tell you that it is extremely important in those years that we address their needs in terms of nurturance, in terms of nutrition, in terms of stimulation, in terms of physical activity, new activities, and most of all, tender, loving care. So children who get all that will do well. Their little brains will develop to the best that they can be. But unfortunately, there are many that come from vulnerable families. And as one scientist that I just happened to see in the corridor outside, world-class scientist who has been part of our study, she uses the term, adverse early experiences get under the skin. They actually impede their optimal development. So that's why it's important that we get it right. And I can go on to how we recommend.
Well, we're going to get to that in a second, but Sheldon, you want to bring this graphic up now? This might be a good time to do this. That's where we are. This is Canada's early childhood education enrollment rates compared to other OECD, basically other Western countries. And, you know, there we are. For those who are listening on podcast and who can't see that chart, we're not all that competitive with a lot of other countries around the world. Why do you think that is?
That's a very good question. Why is North America not there? I think the North Americans suffer from a belief system that the state has no place in the lives of children under 6. We can't get past the belief system that maybe babies should be home with their moms in the first 2,000 days of life. But that's not today's reality, Steve. However, we've struggled with getting past that cultural influence, or impediment, I could say, in investing in the early years. I do think it has a lot to do with the belief system that they really are better off being home with their moms.
Is that not the case?
Well, I'm going to have to say, as an old dog who stayed home with her children, and I think we did a fairly good job, and that whose grandchildren were at home with their moms, and they turned out quite well. But I have visited sites where I have to confess that these children got better than I gave mine.
Say again, you think other children who had early childhood education did better than you
in a
as
good center, yes.
In a good center,
I do
did better
think so.
than you as a stay-at-home mom?
In terms of stimulation, yes, because I'm not an educator. I didn't have the tools, I didn't have the skills, I didn't have the training. I gave them the basics, and I gave them tender, loving care. I didn't give them the stimulation, which is critically important in preparation for today's knowledge-based economy. That's what we have to position this, not just for children, not just for families, but position Canada in a knowledge-based economy, building our human capital.
Your kids didn't exactly turn out to be a bunch of failures, though, so, you know.
No. They would have been Einsteins, wouldn't they? No, just teasing.
Yeah. Let's talk about this. You have suggested that the federal government, I guess the provinces are doing most of the heavy lifting on this file so far, and you have suggested that the federal government needs to, by a factor of several $1 billion, up its game, $1 billion a year until it gets to the point where you think it ought to be.
The ought to be is OECD average.
How long would it take to get us to the OECD average?
Well, that would be probably, it depends on what the will is, what government's in power. But we're saying maybe 8 years.
8 years, okay.
Can we wait that long, really?
Well, let me ask this question. What would that buy us? If we put in an extra $1 billion a year to get us to the OECD average after 8 years, what would that buy us?
We believe it would buy us higher literacy and numeracy rates, better able to have a better capacity to contribute, to be productive, all those important things that are necessary to function in the knowledge-based economy. So I'm going to go to a story, an anecdote, a story. About 1.5 years ago, when we were in one of our provinces presenting a piece of research that we had done in partnership with the government, and we were speaking to deputy ministers and ministers throughout the day. One deputy minister said to me, "Mrs. McCain, I have to tell you something. My colleagues will deny this, but we are graduating almost 50% of our high school students with a general certificate, which means they are not literate or numerate. Now that's very high. That means they cannot operate a piece of high-tech equipment in a factory, or drive a high-tech truck, or any kind of high-tech equipment today, and isn't that everywhere? Even our phones? That's not good enough. We're graduating those high school students to joblessness."
Is it your view that the system that you have laid out, as in this isn't just quote-unquote babysitting, this is part of a public education system, should it be mandatory for all children in this province?
Well, we're not going to say mandatory today, because then we bump up against a cultural barrier. So we're going to say voluntary, and that gives parents a comfort zone. And there will still be parents who would prefer to have their little ones in a home-type setting. But believe it or not, when there is a high-quality children's center attached to public education and a school, the uptake is pretty high. Parents want to take their children there. And let's say they don't have to do it every day of the week. They could do it 3 days a week. Every mom would love to have 3 days off a week.
We've seen in the province of Ontario, full-day kindergarten that the previous McGuinty government brought in. The uptake on that was really phenomenal.
It's very high.
Very quickly.
Very high. And the previous government, the Wynne government, wanted to take it down to 2-year-olds. Well, we didn't get that. But one day we'll get it.
Well, we didn't get it in part because, and this raises the next question, you know, money's tight these days. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say we can't afford not to make this investment, and that there will be a spin-off of benefits that, you know, for every dollar you invest, I read the report, for every dollar you invest, you get 6 back, and the economics play out. But the initial upfront investment is a bit breathtaking for governments that are already running massive deficits. So what do we do about that?
It is breathtaking, but you know, it won't take long to get some of that return on investment. immediately you're going to get women in the workforce. Immediately you're going to get some kind of tax revenue. Immediately you're going to get less drawdown in some of the social services.
Maybe
So
fewer kids going to jail,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Some of that?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Fewer needing mental health care.
Yeah, healthier kids.
Yeah, fewer needing food banks. It goes a long way. But one of the most important things that we need to know is that according to the economic report made in Canada by the Conference Board of Canada, this group of very intelligent economists were very surprised to find out how much it was going to reduce our income inequality gap. And that really has to be one of Canada's goals, along a North American goal. And in terms of the richest countries of the world, we rank near the bottom when it comes to the inequality gap. When I say that, I mean the wide inequality gap. That does not speak to a healthy society.
Well, I think the conference board said you'd get 58,000 more women in the workforce right away if they had their child care needs.
Yeah, and that begins to reduce the inequality gap.
Right.
That is an important goal for us as Canadians, along with the fact that we need to be preparing our children to function in the knowledge-based economy, global knowledge-based economy. We have moved beyond Canada being a resource-based economy. We're with the world as a knowledge-based economy, and that's where we have not caught up in terms of preparing our people.
So in terms of, you've explained the benefits for children's, but you think there is an additional benefit in as much as you could reduce society-wide income inequality at the same time.
Absolutely.
It's a nice fringe benefit if you can get it.
It's a benefit for everybody. It is a win-win. And governments, believe it or not, are beginning to recognize that. It is a gobsmacking ask that we're putting out there. But the policymakers are beginning to understand that what they want right now is the public to be there with them. They want that comfort zone.
Okay, but if it weren't me sitting here, if it were Bill Morneau, the finance minister, sitting here, and he were to say to you, okay, Mrs. McCain, you want me to spend $1 billion more every year that I don't have right now in order to top up this plan that you like. The first question he's going to ask you is, you want me to raise people's taxes, or you want me to borrow more on the markets, or how do you want me to do this? That's a political problem for him.
It is a political problem. It's tough, but I'm going to say it's a win-win, and the benefits that you're going to get, it's a pretty easy sell, Mr. Minister.
Would you have to cannibalize money from other programs to make it happen?
Maybe a bit initially. There's a lot of room in government to repurpose. There's a lot, I don't have to tell you that, but there's a lot of room for repurposing. And it's a matter of priorities.
Well, I think the Feds spend, what is it, like $300 million a year, so, excuse me, billion. $300 billion a year.
Yeah, we're asking them to increase one every year. And not only that, with the return on investment, it's a win-win.
Do you think there are still too many people in this society who, for cultural and or religious and or just philosophical reasons, oppose this idea?
There are a significant number, yes. So that's why I'm here talking to you.
You're trying to change some minds.
Yes, and I know that you're influential, and so yes, this is a good place for me to start.
I don't know how influential we are, but we do have influential people on the program.
I know you are.
I do want to ask you this. You've been very upfront about the fact that you've had, in some respects, a charmed life. You've had a wonderful go, and you are now, am I allowed to say this out loud?
85.
You're 85 years old. Okay, I didn't have to because you did.
Yeah.
You could be putting your feet up on a beach somewhere and not really worrying about all this. So why are you doing this?
That's a very good question. People ask me all the time because they think, why is she doing this? She should be home knitting.
Not should be, but could be.
Well, I guess there are just a few answers to that. Simply, children have been a passion of mine all my life. I need a purpose. And I think that it's the best thing I can do for aging, to have a purpose, to get up in the morning and do something meaningful. And I think I've chosen something that I might not see come to fruition. However, I believe in it strongly. And yes, and I think perhaps maybe the fact that I am 85 years old, still doing it, maybe does carry a little weight to my message.
I disagree with you. I think you're going to live forever. You will definitely see the fruition of this in your lifetime because you're not going anywhere.
Well, I'm not sure. You know, I don't buy green bananas anymore.
How is it? I know, for example, you got involved with Fraser Mustard. I guess it's 20 years ago?
He's my guru, yes.
Right, Fraser Mustard, who is, of course, a great scientist, early childhood education expert from McMaster University in Hamilton. And you two, I think you were tasked by the Mike Harris government a long time ago.
I was just going to say, I have to thank Mike Harris. I thank him every day. And Fraser did when he was alive, because he did set us on this path. Even though he didn't necessarily pick up the report the way we wanted him to, that's okay. He put us on the path. He gave us a light and helped us get started. And then the McGuinty government, the Wynne government, picked it up as well. The feds have picked it up. And a lot of, well, we work now with 8 governments across Canada, plus the territories. And it's very interesting. Governments of all stripes, political stripes. Political bias never comes into it. We talk about the same issues, the same challenges, the same obstacles with every single group of policymakers and politicians. Political bias never comes into it. Politics doesn't come into it because we're talking about our people. And what better things can we do to help our people in a better way? To be better educated, to be able to perform, to contribute, to produce in a better way. It's the same subject every time. And we have very fruitful discussions, and I don't have name recognition with all these governments either, so it's...
Your name recognition is pretty good. I'd have to say it is. I wouldn't want to get the former Lieutenant Governor of New Brunswick involved in a partisan political discussion, but I do wonder if you've had any chats with the current government of Ontario, which is, after all, it's only been in office for about a year and a half.
No, not yet. They have their own challenges right now. And I've been asked what my position is, and each government has to deal with their challenges in their own way, and we're not going to interfere with that. But if you read the reports, you'll know that we support full-day kindergarten.
Can I ask you a really bizarre, out-of-left-field question for our final question of the day?
Sure.
Okay.
Shoot.
You've got the same last name as a very famous former senator from Arizona, John McCain, and you two are actually about the same age. You ever meet him?
Yes.
You did meet him?
And my husband has. And believe it or not, through a DNA project, they all came from the same place in Ireland.
So you're probably related.
Well, like about 8 generations back, yes. In fact, we are. Not me, my husband.
Your husband.
And believe it or not, there are some similarities to my husband's father. But all through DNA, they came from the same clan in Castlefin, Northern Ireland.
It's funny.
Not Northern, the Republic.
I always wanted to ask you about that because, I mean, you and I have known each other for a little while, but I've never asked you if you ever met John McCain. And you have.
Yeah.
And you had a good yuck about your last name, I guess.
Oh, yes. Wallace met him several times, yeah.
Terrific. Well, we're so grateful you could spare some time for us today and come in and talk about this issue, which I know is a huge passion of yours. As I've told you a million times, you're my mom's hero. So I bet she'll be watching this one.
She's mine. Can I say hello?
You sure can.
Hi, Marnie.
That's more.
I have to thank you, Steve, because in our crusade to accomplish our goals, increasing public awareness is huge. And I know the respect that this program has. So you are doing us a huge favor. Thank you.
Well, we're delighted to have you here. That's Margaret McCain, the chair of the Margaret and Wallace McCain Family Foundation, former Lieutenant Governor of New Brunswick, and only 85 years young. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Agenda with Steve Paikin is brought to you by the Chartered Professional Accountants of Ontario. CPA Ontario is a regulator, an educator, a thought leader, and an advocate. We protect the public. We advance our profession. We guide our CPAs. We are CPA Ontario. And by viewers like you. Thank you.